so actually we could start.
Good. So, good morning, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Maher Chebbo. I'm chairing this event, and I have like 30 years of experience in technology, digitalization, worked in companies like Capgemini, SAP, 21 years, and about 3 years with DAO.digital. And I sit on different boards, working a lot with the European Commission on the digitalization, digital platforms, and the role they could have in energy transition in batteries. And I chair also an international organization in charge of energy access and giving data for impact in emerging countries called REAP. I used to speak in public events a lot about the role of the digitalization in accelerating transitions, in blockchain events as well. And this DAO.digital is a good opportunity here to come and create a good network between investors and startups around technology, blockchain, one of them, but not the only one, or around as well different sectors where we see a good opportunity for investments. So we did have a number of sessions where we had good speakers, good experts. That was the opportunity to see where we can connect the dots and get the people to cooperate and collaborate together. And I'm very pleased to have this live session now where we could have a live debate and get a big number of the community connected here and following what we are talking about. Should we go next to James?
Yeah, hi, great to be here. Thanks for having me, everybody. This great event. My name is James Sowers, and I'm a Forbes top 25 angel investor. I think I was actually listed as number 22. I invest and also advise in a number of startups and companies like that. I often speak about disruptive technology, not only blockchain, but also artificial intelligence, IoT, things like that. And I believe that every business in the future is actually going to be a technology business with code in its nervous system. If you don't actually do that, you're going to get disrupted. And I think a lot of the big companies have also realized this. And I also believe that the key to redefining a category is seeing what others don't, because talent is a target that no one else can hit, but genius is a target that no one else can see. So if you can see the future and build for the future, and you're right, that's where the large outcomes come, and that's where you not only have a great investment, but also change society as a whole.
Thank you. And then Dmitry, and then we can finish with Danila, and then each of you could speak also about the platforms and the technology we are using to create this community and to broadcast to the community.
Yeah, thank you, Maher.
Dmitry, maybe first.
Okay. Thank you for introduction. So my name is Dmitry Solovyev, and I'm founder of DAO.digital. So actually, this is the brand new platform that helps connecting investors with startups, with experts. And actually, we've started our journey from organizing this event, Global Investors Online Summit. And this event will last for probably 1 month. And actually, this is the journey where we'll start building our platform. So we're moving step by step. So actually, right now, we have organized this event on the platform. We started with live streams. Also, we created a brand new blog, DAO.digital, where experts are already publishing their articles. Also, we have plans for promoting different startups with their new projects and help them fundraising. So actually, I'm glad everyone to see here on this event. So we're starting big journey right now, and actually we're open for communication and collaboration with everyone. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And this is a good opportunity. Thanks, Dmitry, for putting this forum together and then building step by step with the members, future members of the club, a platform which I'm sure will be unique and will be a good one-stop shop for the community of investors and startups who want to collaborate and do business together. Danila.
Yeah, hello everybody. Thank you for being a part of such an incredible meeting, especially with a topic that is related to investment. So I represent LATOKEN exchange. We're top 10 exchange by liquidity with the main purpose to connect investors with entrepreneurs, which my colleague also are aimed at. Our ultimate goal and long-term goal is to become an asset tokenization platform that will help billions of people all around the globe invest their limited funds into really promising, valuable, strong startups, which are currently not available to them because of their lack of budgets. So in regards to the investment side of what we're currently doing is we are building a new product, which is called VCTV, where we invite our network of VC funds, 80 billion assets under management funds, where we connect strong projects from markets starting from Australia and ending with South America continent to connect with them. They pitch to investors and they actually receive this opportunity being caught from offline meetings, offline events, receiving an opportunity to pitch from real investment and get investment during these difficult and not stable times. This is what we're currently doing. Thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to be a part of today's discussion.
Thank you. I mean, LATOKEN is a good platform. I got the opportunity a couple of times to participate in different panels. I think a good level of speakers as well. And I think this partnership between DAO.digital and LATOKEN is very promising. Now, let's have a bit of background overview about the different panels we had in the past that we pre-recorded. And here I would like to address James and say, look, you participated 2 or 3 times in panels that we have been sharing, and we heard a number of speakers and so on. What's your impression from the panels that you attended, and what do you think we should take some of the topics further maybe and have a deeper look at them?
Yeah, I think it was a great place to listen and learn to others, get many other perspectives. Also, one of the great things is I connected with a couple of people too offline, so it was great for networking. And I think one of the great things to explore is just the education of the public and trying to get more main adoption into Bitcoin, cryptocurrencies, and even startups. So even for people who aren't investors, just so they understand how startups work. Because I know in the United States lately, there's been a big kind of hype or hyperbole that becoming a founder was glorified. But people don't realize the very most successful startups had peaks and valleys, ups and downs, and a lot of struggles. And, you know, when you're running a startup, a lot of my founders were texting me and calling me, the companies I invested in or advised, hey, this is going wrong, that's going wrong, and you have to work on it, think through the problem, fix the problem. So the more you scale and the better you're doing, you still have problems. It never ends. But the problems are good because once you get through them, it makes you stronger. Because, you know, when something bad happens, like the COVID, it's going to destroy some people. Some people are just going to be like, what's going on here? But some people are going to come through stronger. The best companies are actually going to come stronger and get market share. So startups isn't glorious, but in the end, if your mission is not just to make money, because you do have to make some money, obviously, to survive and to change the world because it's the rocket fuel. But basically, if you focus on your mission and make the world a better place, in the end, you're going to come out on top 99% of the time.
Mm-hmm. So you are absolutely right. I think we could spend more time in this club, which is being formed here, on sharing the pain points that could exist among the startups. Just not speaking about even advisors coming in the game and so on, just sharing the pain points that the startups would have would be a great learning between them. Pain point could be, we are very difficult to sell. It's the sales cycle are so long. Customers are asking us to invest in pilots and show them more and more and more on our own expenses before buying our technology. These could be pain points. Also, finding out the right understanding of their technology by the investors, which could shorten, for example, the due diligence cycle. These are examples of pain points. We should do the same as well among the investors. What are the pain points that the investors have? We have money, we cannot find easily the right the right startups. We believe that the guys do not understand what business and starting up a new business is. We believe that we invest a lot, but it takes us a long time to exit really with good profitability. That's also interesting. So the startup community, their pain points, the investment community, their pain points, and then exchanging between the two, actually. And this is going to be an excellent learning where they listen to each other in an open way. Most of the time when investors speak with startups, it's not that informal. Okay, so it's like, okay, I'm a startup, I'm looking for money, so I'm going to present in the best way what my company is doing. That's a formal session. And we don't have the opportunity to have an informal discussion. And this is where a lot of things are being said, are being put on the table. And these will be excellent learnings. Now, if I put aside these learnings from the behavior and the pain points that we have, and then we get into the technology, there is a lot to be said on learning, educating, explaining to people what the cryptocurrency, what the blockchain, what the LATOKEN, what all the token things are about, and then the communities that deal with this, like LATOKEN. So the things we have to think about is also educational sessions. People who can explain things in a very simple way, or things for dummies, that people, when they want to start a business or push a business in this domain, at least we make sure they have the fundamentals. Same also for investments. I think it's not that bad to have some investors who are education oriented, who could explain what's the cycle of investment, what is seed, pre-seed, what is a Series A, and so on. What does it mean every phase for them when they need to get in, and so on. And this is also worth it. You know, the learnings is probably 30-50% of the value we'll get also out of this network. And then you get into evaluating cases. And definitely when you are presenting something and the others are presenting something, you learn from them, because they could have a much better template, or a much better speech, or a much better speaker even, who is speaking about the technology. So this is also great learning by observing, by looking at the others. Why the others are better than me, and what's better in what I have versus the others. So that's also another thing. And maybe we should develop as well a methodology, which could be the methodology coming out of this community, of presenting things, presenting a case, and of making a due diligence, where we could pick up the brains, for example, of the different members, and then say, like, you know, we believe that the methodology for these guys presenting something, the other guys for evaluating it, and so on, this what would make sense as a handbook, as a recipe, as a methodology that people would follow, for example, and then develop some practices here which could make sense in the future. And then we could take case studies, so about good, successful investments, and bad, even very bad investments, where there was really failures at the end, and probably we'll learn more from the second category, and then present that. And there is a lot of learnings as well from concrete cases in both areas. So this is a bit my my feeling about the things where we should make sure that the DAO.digital platform, for example, covers. And the continuity in the participation of the people cannot say everything in just a panel. Okay, so if they come once and they leave, okay, and they cannot say everything as well when there are three others the same time as there are maybe other people who would come in the in the game and then interact with them. So that means that we need to have a continuous process. We need to have a crossing as well between the people, that people can say other things as well in presence of other speakers, And we need to see this community up and living over time. It's not only one month and so on. It should be continuous, and there should be continuous animation, for example, of these activities, that people feel like when they are turning on their phone in the morning, for example, or very frequently during the day, they feel they need to go there because there is something new happening. There is a new chat going on there. There is maybe a new opportunity they are missing. They need to be quick and so on. So we need to have it like the must be one-stop shop, for example, for the community of investors and the startups to go there. And for that, you need to put all the animation, the tricks, and everything interesting, and the number of chats and information that people would look at. What do you think?
Yeah, I was thinking like kind of after the 1 month is over, even continuing with Ask Me Anythings. We're having certain speakers or certain people that may or may not have been part of this event, but are in the network or join the network later, and do an Ask Me Anything session with them, so people can learn and ask different questions, and also even maybe having a podcast too with different people on it. So you could kind of dovetail this and kind of keep the flywheel going, and then have like a yearly or quarterly event like this, but in between have Ask Me Anythings, have podcasts, things like that, really get community engagement.
Mm-hmm. So in the engagement and the broadcasting, and there are different options. There is like many-to-many speak, one-to-many speak. So you take an investor and then he presents to everyone what he's interested in. You take a startup and he presents to everyone the kind of investors he's looking for. And you have one-to-one. Okay.
Right.
So many-to-many, one-to-many, and then one-to-one, and then one-to-one. This is where the people could go very much in the details and tell about the secrets and things that are in principle, shared after signing an NDA, non-disclosure agreement, for example. We need also to find out, for example, these different interactions at these different levels as well, and make them available when needed. Okay. Then maybe Danila, from your experience on LATOKEN, from all what we said here, what are the good practices also you could share with us about what LATOKEN, for example, is doing, which contributes, for instance, to what we said?
Yeah, thank you, for sure. Maher, I would like to start from mentioning the experience that we got from starting this new product aimed at attracting projects from various countries and get them connected with investors. So absolutely agree with the point that we need to pay more attention on the educational content because a huge percentage of the projects, they don't even have MVP. They don't know how to construct their pitch deck to make it more investment oriented. They still lack of common sense. For example, we had a startup who is building the platform, which is similar to the existing big players on the market with the same business model. And we are asking them, how are you going to switch? How are you going to attract users of the current existing platform if you're doing the same business? So how are you going to do that? This absolutely logical and trivial question. Startups don't ask this question to themselves, but that question would help them avoid a difficult, complicated situation when they're already built the business before they do that. Okay. So in regards to the current investment-oriented product that we do, we are doing, as I already said, VC TV, where we connect entrepreneurs, startups. There is some huge inflow of startups from India and Southeastern Asia markets. We connect them with VCs. So we do win-win business for both parties because investors are surely interested in finding great startups on this unstable time and get benefit from it. And startups are looking for investments because they're staying at home. They have less expenses on developing their business and they're looking for investments. This is what we're doing. We connected them with each other. And in regards to the format that would be popular and would attract maximum of potential network, I completely agree with James. I think this the format of podcast interviews, such as Joe Rogan podcast, when two people can exchange their ideas directly, they have more chances to get deeper into the topic. Because when we have a lot of people on the panel discussion, it's really kind of difficult to get deeper into the points that we discuss. And when we have one-on-one interview, you can ask questions me, you can ask questions based on the answers that I get to you before. So it got more in-depth content, which is satisfying the needs of the people who are more involved in the crypto and blockchain space than newcomers.
Mm-hmm. What was there, if you have to mention a couple of success stories, things that exceptional that happened through the platform that you have, through the participation into these panels and so on, what could you mention? A couple of really big success stories.
Yeah, sure. So this is what I actually wanted to share the pitch deck with you, where I will mention all these projects we partnered with before. So yeah, if you don't mind, can I share it right now or?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Do you see the presentation?
Yes.
Yeah, so in this presentation, the main idea that I would like our audience today to take out is that is it an era of crisis or an era of opportunities? So for us, it's certainly an era of opportunities, because this is the time when we launched new product and made it accessible to all investors all around the globe. And today I would like to share with our audience what this product is about. So I really love this slide. It emphasized the power of the right approach. So where we are now, era of crisis, as I said, or era of opportunities. And it's most definitely uncertain times, but who is better to deal with uncertainty than startups? So running out of cash is still the #1 reason companies go bankrupt. And we are actually solving that issue. And I will show you how a little later. So a few words about ourselves. It all started about 2 years ago when we raised $80 million in an ICO to build a global digital exchange. Since then, we have grown to be a top 10 digital exchange by liquidity in the world and the largest launchpad for IOs, according to ICOBench. So how do we get there? Let me give you some vital stats that will help you understand why we are where we are. We have done 150 plus IOs since 2017 and listed 400 plus tokens. This brought us more than 500,000 registered users and monthly website traffic of 3 million visits. So let's talk details here and let's talk some numbers. As I've said, ICOBench LATOKEN is by far the largest launchpad for new tokens. In fact, we're 15% as big here as #2 competitor and 68% as big as #3. This shows you the importance that blockchain and crypto have attained in terms of offering startups and entrepreneurs a new way to raise funds. And LATOKEN rides that wave big time. In fact, we have provided these fundraising opportunities to 54 projects from all around the globe by August 2019 only. Therefore, we have collected a substantial expertise in fundraising process, starting from projects in-depth audit and ending with providing projects with investment advices to increase their chances of hitting their fundraising targets. Let's move on to the next slide and highlight the points that are crucial for fundraising. This shows a few of the most recent success cases. Basically, the numbers speak for themselves. I would just like to emphasize the point that there are two key components to the success of an IO: the project itself, team, backers, community, product, and overall traction. And second is a marketing campaign supporting the token sale. So we have both your chances of hitting your fundraising targets increase substantially. This is another product that we're offering to our projects we partner with. This is LATOKEN Airdrop, which is a highly efficient tool projects benefit from to promote their coming IOs and greatly increase the number of traders for the project. From 10,000 to 100,000 real Telegram group users, 20 plus success cases done on our platform. This is the project that you can see on the screen. We recently launched LATOKEN VC TV widget, broadcast our 2 days roadshow. We are happy to invite you guys also to join our next panel discussion on the roadshow and be visible to 15,000 viewers via trading terminal, LATOKEN landing page and crowdfunding section. So LATOKEN VC TV widget delivers a project IO announcement in a format of video content to thousands of additional potential investors on our platform. Projects can list their token, invest in coming IOs, buy favorite cryptocurrency on top ranked LATOKEN app with the lowest fees on their local market with one click only. Just a few words about our blockchain economic forum, thankfully to which we have built up the network of VC funds. Thankfully to participation and sponsorship of these events, projects raised $900 million through their participation in and sponsorship of blockchain economic forums. In addition to the primary goal of connecting entrepreneurs and startups to investors, blockchain economic forums attract many industry leaders, the biggest names in venture capital and money management, such as Tim Draper, co-founder of Draper Fisher, one of the most well-known VC firms, as well as renowned public speakers, including, as you can see, former presidents of Mexico and Bulgaria, former top-level US government official. So we are in favor of open and straightforward discussion and welcome people with various opinions and viewpoints.
Yeah. I was invited to the Davos event, actually, on the blockchain session to speak. I couldn't make it, but you know, I see that was an interesting forum. Yeah.
Unfortunately, but we're happy to see you on our next blockchain economic forum after COVID fades away, for sure.
Thank you.
So yeah, and in regards to the one of the key points that I was planning to share with you is our current new products. So I would like to present you our 3 recent online fundraising opportunities that we are currently offering to great startups all around the globe, who I'm sure are watching us right now. So first is Investors Room, second is online pitching session, and third is a crowdfunding campaign. So what is the Investor Room about? Three simple steps. Create your landing page on LATOKEN, get visible to 500,000 potential investors and 3 million plus new coming visitors on LATOKEN website. Present your project to the LATOKEN team of investment experts in your own video streaming room, and get shortlisted to present your project in front of selected investors. We are currently offering a great crowdfunding method in the global pandemic scenario. So as I said, online fundraising pitch session in front of investors with 18 billion assets under management. Here's the value that your project receives, reaching a worldwide investor community of 500,000 LATOKEN users. No cross-border travel expenses and issues, flexible scheduling, marketing support. And some of the project can also add crowd sale fundraising to their online pitching session package. If you have a token, we make a primary offering campaign targeted at our user base with banner on the main page with 3 million monthly visit, customizable referral program, and secondary market listing. Even if you don't have a token, we can make the whole tokenization of your project to leverage from IO on LATOKEN. To sum up, the process of participating in our online pitching session is very straightforward. It's only 2 steps that you need to do. Pitch for LATOKEN team of investment expert. We provide you with the practical feedback on your pitch deck to make it more investment oriented. And you get selected to pitch in front of selected $18 billion assets under management VC funds on our online roadshow. Yep. So I would like to conclude my part by saying that we intend to be a part of your fundraising success. If you want to reserve the pitching slot, you're welcome to our LATOKEN page. Thank you for your attention. I appreciate it. And let me pass the floor to next speakers. Questions?
Yeah. Thank you. That's really impressive. How many years have you been here, actually? When did you start this LATOKEN?
So it all started 3 years ago in 2017 when we made an ICO.
Okay. And you said the first fundraising was like 80 million?
This is our ICO, right?
Your ICO, wow. And today, one of the ranking is saying like this is the biggest community or biggest platform in this area, right?
Yeah, so we're providing this IO opportunity to the product. We make first due diligence of the product to make sure that we don't have unfair players being in our team. But as I said, when we opened the door to the project without a token for investment opportunities, we have a huge increase in inflow of projects from Southeastern Asia who are also leveraging and benefiting from IO, because we can make a token for their project. We're doing a token for their project. And this is so we have positive feedbacks from our online roadshow, from investor side, from project side. But again, I need to make a note, very important note, that we cannot make miracles as nobody else can. I think that we cannot trust the players who promise something. So we are providing the best service we can, and we inform the project that if you want to fundraise, you need to have a strong project first. You need to have a proper marketing campaign. And when we have these two sides covered, we can do good results. Without that, it's impossible.
Excellent. So James, what do you think about this model?
Yeah, it sounds great. Like he was saying, the company still has to do the work. Like I hear so many times, so many people say, I did this, I did that, I signed up for this, I paid for this, I paid for that, or I worked with this advisor and gave him equity and this didn't happen, this didn't happen. And I'm always like, okay, well, what did you do? And they said, well, I brought that person on, but you still have to do the work no matter what. Because I always say, you have to work long, hard, and smart. Not 2 out of 3, not 1 out of 3, all 3. And just because you sign up for a great platform like his, you still have to put in the work. So you still have to do the marketing. You have to do the reach out. You have to be active on your Telegram channel. You have to be active on social media. You have to engage with the public. If you just sign up for a platform and say, oh, it's magic, sprinkle fairy dust, all the good's going to happen, it normally doesn't work that way. Now, there may have been like some rare outliers at the peak of the ICO boom that's all you had to do. And that was just luck, right timing, all that good stuff. But you have to do the work. And a lot of the projects that got lucky like that, if they didn't do the work afterwards, they're not really flourishing. But projects that do the work are flourishing.
Okay, good. So, Dmitry, I guess you did have iterative or several discussions with LATOKEN here, and can you explain a bit how these two initiatives can interact together between the DAO.digital, what's the vision, what you have in mind, and LATOKEN, that we have, 1 + 1 = 3, for example?
Yeah, thank you for suggestion. So Danila, actually, I have a question. So we're building the community of the platform that unites experts in the investment area, startups as well, and investors. So probably we have three communities as well. And actually, you have the platform that could where they could benefit from your platform as well. So kindly, could you tell a little bit how our community could engage with your platform, and what are the rules or what are the conditions could be for probably experts, startups, and investors? So we have the event here So we have probably 100 experts who are going to talk at our event, and we'll be producing the content as well. So you have told that you have the VC TV, and we're already broadcasting here. So is it possible to broadcast other experts on your TV? So are you interested in this point of collaboration? And also we have startups that are raising funds, and we have probably 5 startups that are preparing for their pitch decks for fundraising. So what are the conditions for joining probably your platform? So I'll be really glad to promote these startups to your platform and provide you startups as well. And also we have investors who already registered for this event and who are looking for this event, who will be watching these recordings of the event. So how they could benefit from your platform? So could you tell how experts could benefit from you, startups and investors? Thank you.
So yeah, thank you, Dmitry, a lot for the question. So let's start from the first part, is expert. So as I said, on a weekly basis, we are hosting online roadshow and pitch competitions. So what we can do is you can introduce me to these potential participants of our online roadshow. If they're hosting their shows, podcasts, or their YouTube bloggers, we can broadcast their own online roadshow to our platform as well. So we are interested in getting into more collaborations and more partnerships with really big players, really big names on the crypto blockchain stage. Get together and broadcast educational, inspirational, insightful content to our user base, traders, and people who go on our platform. Second, startups. So again, we do not let all the startups participate in pitch competition. So we do due diligence. They present their projects to LATOKEN investment committee. We provide with the feedback to make sure they are 100% ready to pitch in front of the Cs. So again, what we can do if you have a promising startups that are doing fundraising now on your platform, they need to have a roadshow, because as it was done before the COVID-19, startup were engaged in offline roadshow, huge marketing effort, informing and covering maximum of people who can get involved into their IO or crowdfunding. Now they can do that. So we are doing online roadshow for them instead of offline. And you can also connect them with me, with our team. So I'm representing today our team, so you connect them with me. You know my email. Yeah, and let's see. So if it's really great and strong startup, we are happy to partner with them and help them with their fundraising for sure. And third question, in regards to community, I have different ideas how we can engage and collaborate on that point. One of them is our referral program. Second one is, again, attracting your community to our online roadshow and pitch competitions, to the project's IOs. Yeah, a lot of ideas how we can do that. That, I guess, demands probably another time for in-depth discussion. But this is so far my ideas on your questions. Yeah, thank you.
Awesome, that's really nice. Thank you very much. So I appreciate your opportunities that you provide for us as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
So this is a good opportunity, as I said, and doing a partnership between two organizations who think the same way, who have the same goals to develop the business around the same technologies as well, blockchain, artificial intelligence, and everything around. I think in general is a good outcome for both, and then 1 + 1 would be 3 in this case. And I think we have to brainstorm and to see what are the new services these two platforms can put in place to make it even more interesting for the startups, as we were saying at the beginning, I see startups starting getting to involve somewhere when they go very, very bad and they are close to like no more cash and they are really in deep pain points. But I think these forums should not be only for that stage of the startups when they are in a deep pain points or in deep shape, but should be as well for the startups who are in good shape, doing well, fast growing fast. Who knows, in the future anything can happen. Who could expect, for example, COVID, right? And I see a lot of startups who were in fantastic shape, grows 50% year on year, and so then COVID happened, and they were really hit. So they need anyway to be part of a community that they could have the agility and the responsiveness to react very quickly because they are part of the community if something bad is happening, and have a quick reach, for example, to the investors community to say, okay, now I can maybe react very quickly to what happens, rather than a normal process where they are on their own and where it requires like 6 months, for example, to get a new investment. And I think the technology here should help. Maybe Dmitry, I don't know if you planned to show something, whether it's a presentation or to show something around the DAO digital platform as well, that the audience here to whom we are broadcasting could have a much concrete feeling about what's in.
Yeah, thank you. So actually, I will be preparing the separate presentation regarding the DAO.digital, so what we're doing and etc. And right now, I would like to tell a little bit about what we're doing at this event. So I will show you the platform, the website that we have done, and how you could engage with it. So let me share the screen. So actually, right now we have the one point here. This is the summit.DAO.digital. So this is the website of our summit. So this is the main part of our event. So here you will see the live streaming if it's live or like right now. Also, you can claim a free ticket for the event. So free ticket provides you the access to our communities, so access to all the recordings, all the interviews that we have recorded with experts, and all other opportunities. So actually, if you would like to join our community, just claim your free ticket and you're joining us. So here are our social media. So we're just started them, but we'll continue engaging with them. So actually, regarding the summit, so we're doing this online event. So our goal is to pre-qualify all attendees, so actually know who is dealing with us. So we engage with surveys, ask our community what they're interested in, and etc. So after communities processing the interviews, so we're inviting them for the business networking. So we have this separate special enterprise social network, so where we engage with experts, with the partners, with startups, and etc. So actually, this is our workplace where we are working with each other. Also, we're hosting panel discussion with experts, and we have also industry interviews, startup showcase, and product showcase. So actually, you will get to know about all the events that are going to be during this global event for 1 month. So you'll get on the email. So here are our speakers who is joining us. So Maher is our chief chair of the event. So James Sowers is also here. Actually, here you will see the all the interview sessions that we have already recorded and that are going to be broadcasted, and all the other sessions that are going to be live here. So also I want to mention our sponsors and media sponsors that we have. So actually our main sponsor is Breach Report. So this is the company, the tool that helps with cybersecurity, with different so kindly have a look at this tool. So this will help to be secured with your emails and communication. And also we have our another partner. This is Zoho platform. So we're doing all our digital stuff on this platform. So basically these are two our sponsors that helped us to host this event. And also we have a huge list of our media sponsors that are ready to share about our event as well. So we'll add here LATOKEN as well. So this is our probably main media sponsor. Actually, if you would like to partner with us with our events, so you will see here the forms. So you could choose here the what kind of partnership you are interested in. So you could join as expert, startup, media partner, and sponsor. So just fill in this form, submit, and you will see the short presentation about what we're offering, and you're ready to schedule a call with me to discuss the details. Also you will see here another stuff is the agenda. So really attractive. All the list of our speakers are listed here. So these probably all the experts that decided to join our event. So who is going to be participating at our event during the panel discussions or live presentations or and etc. For registered users, we have the networking section here, and also you have the profile here. So if you register on our event, so kindly fill in your profile, so you will be get the better networking here. Also, we have the DAO.digital website. So we just started with it here, but we're already publishing here the articles. So, for example, James Sowers provided the great articles for our blog here, and so you could read it here. So, and etc. So James Sowers actually is top author at our platform right now. Also, we'll continue working with this platform and add here the listings of startups that are looking for fundraising. So also we'll put here the educational port section, and actually, so this will be the main domain of our platform as well. So basically, this is what we're doing right now. So feel free to join our DAO.digital website, reading articles. So feel free to register for our event, Global Investors Online Summit, on summit.dao.digital. Get your free ticket and join our community as well. So basically, this is the enough for the starting. So we have huge plans for the future. So we're going to launch our decentralized autonomous organization and invite community to help us building this platform. So we're inviting developers who will build this platform, invite different bloggers, freelancers who is ready for working with the content, editing it, and etc. And we're ready to promote this collaboration with our tokens as well. So we'll get the kind of a bounty program as well. So actually we'll be launching our decentralized autonomous organization probably next days. So, and everyone who will join our event, Summit.DAO.digital, so will be available for taking all the tokens of our decentralized autonomous organization. So basically, that's all probably for now. So I will be creating the separate presentation as well. So actually, I'm really glad that we have started this event, and probably by the end of this event, after 4 weeks, we'll have we'll set up all the processes and we'll be ready for producing great content, connecting investors with startups, and we'll have the really great engaging community. So actually, we just started, and everything is on our road. Thank you, Maher.
Thank you, Dmitry. So, of course, your thanks go to the team who worked on reaching out to the speakers to bring them to this event, to record, for example, the panels, as well all the people who worked on the development and all the great work that's behind it. It's a real entrepreneurship initiative here. It's not like someone came and put millions and I asked you to develop that. So the expertise and the talents came together and then, you know, built what you have demonstrated here. And it's really impressive to see what a few people can do if they are motivated and they have a project behind their mind. But I believe this is going to be growing, successful, and the partnerships you mentioned here, like the sponsors and the media partners, they will be playing also an important role here in continue the partnership and making sure that you have a platform that meets the expectations of the market. Are you planning to have like a quick survey where you ask people, give me the top 3 things that you would like, for example, to see on the platform? What are your ideas, or people who would like to contribute, for example?
Yeah, for sure. So actually, we have a lot of ideas what to do with platform community, but we're really limited by our team members. And actually, we're really glad to see new team members on our platform who's ready to work with us for building this platform. And actually, we're ready to distribute our brand new tokens of DAO as a payment for the contribution on our platform as well. So yeah, for sure, we'll start contacting with attendees of these events, so we'll start asking the questions. So basically, we're building this platform for the attendees of the event. So we're not building this for ourselves. So this is the main point of decentralized autonomous organization, where everyone is open to join this organization, is ready to collaborate, contribute for the DAO and get benefit from it.
Okay. In terms of participating here on, let us say, putting the profile, for example, of the people who are there, part of the success of this kind of platform is to know very well, you know, the people who are part of it, the members, the profile, what they have done, and so on. And this is a question to you and Danila as well, is how much do you leverage the social networks, for example, and the profile of the people on the social networks like LinkedIn, for instance, to make your work powerful?
Basically, okay, Danila.
Dmitry, Danila, sorry.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
No, Dmitry, please go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, so then Dmitry first.
Okay, so for sure, so LinkedIn is a great social network, and this is the great place for showing the experience of the members, and actually this gives the trust. So for example, if we see a member with a social network like Telegram and we know nothing about member, and we see the rich profile on the LinkedIn with a lot of connections, with feedback and approved skills. So probably the member with the rich LinkedIn profile will get the higher reputation for transacting on the platform, for example. But for sure, that doesn't mean that member with only Telegram could have the lower reputation. But here could be the so the platform we could get benefit from the platform if we connect all the social network, and we could build the profile with the experience of the member, with the profile and etc., and link probably Telegram. And with this use case, we could see all the reputation of the new member. So actually, the database should be scalable, should be social reach, and actually, this is the main point of social CRM technology. So actually, we're using this very well, and we're for sure is going to be using this as well. But we're just started, so actually we're not hurrying anywhere, but for sure we'll do this very well.
Okay, thank you. Danila?
Yeah, I completely agree with Dmitry. Actually, have not too much valuable to add here. So LinkedIn is playing one of the most important, LinkedIn is one of the most important instruments that we're using to outreach to people, to invite their panel discussion or pitch competitions. Yeah, so absolutely. That is our reality already.
Yeah, James, when you want to get into networks, for example, so far, what was your practice, for example? Where you go, where you connect with people, what kind of platforms you use, and so on? What's your feedback?
Yeah, LinkedIn's a good place. I've connected with a lot of people there. That's where I actually connected with you guys originally. And also Twitter is pretty good too. And even Instagram, people follow you on Instagram and on Twitter. And then now I'm starting to experiment with I just joined TikTok. I didn't make any videos or anything yet. I'm learning how it works, because a lot of it's like people lip syncing and dancing and stuff, but I'm noticing other people are using it for other things. And I actually think a platform like that's going to evolve, where people can make videos that are helpful for things like this, you know, giving lessons about Bitcoin could be considered digital gold, or it could be considered speculative, or some people might consider it an investment. Some people might consider it insurance. And then you could make other videos of just about many different things, about what you look for in startups, or just the basics, or just about what you found is the most important thing in startups. And you can even, I saw a thing where you can have other people and do a live. You can even have debates or discussions even on a TikTok. It seems like that platform is really rapidly expanding its reach.
So do you know that TikTok just named a former executive from Disney who was the head of streaming, Kevin Maher? They just named him as the CEO of TikTok, and they moved their headquarters to the US.
I saw that. Yeah, I think it might be in LA or something like that. And I saw the other day a guy from Disney, that he was going to potentially be one of the CEOs at Disney someday. He was like in line. He's left for TikTok US. And then the COO of ByteDance and CEO of TikTok, US.
I heard they added like 100 million users during the COVID.
Probably at least. I mean, it's crazy. There's a couple of people in there that have like, one person's got like 56 million users or something like that, 50 some million. It's ridiculous. And another girl has got like 41 million. I mean, it's insane.
and then now you start like Mark Zuckerberg, for example, was making also some comments about TikTok, and they could share the data and so on. I mean, this is I'm not saying a normal game, but this is the game in terms of business game, where everybody will say, you are more risky than my platform, for example, or my network. So that's really interesting time. So you said that, okay, there's the professional platform, which is LinkedIn. Almost everybody has a profile there who is in business. This stays an important link we need to create between DAO.token and LinkedIn. And then you have all the other platforms. Now you have Instagram, Facebook, and so on together. And you have TikTok, and you have Twitter, and you have others as well. And we need to see, how we can increase here the reach and increase the interest by using all these different channels as well. But I believe, the experts who work on these platforms, work on DAO, for instance, will have great ideas also how to have automatic bridges between the DAO.digital and these platforms. Now, I believe also a lot in live things, in videos, and recording. The message is always much more impactful when people see somebody speaking rather than reading things, for example. So this is why I would call the DAO.digital as a media content platform. So when you pre-record, you put the videos and so on, and people go and listen to that. And this is the best way to communicate the message. It's like a media content where you put broadcasting videos and broadcasting films and so on. So that's going to be developed. Now, a question to all of you, actually. Post-COVID, how this investment and startup world will look like? Do we believe that almost a transaction could be done 100% virtually? Do you believe an investor could pick up a company, do everything virtually, and then close the deal virtually without meeting the people face to face?
I think it largely depends on the size of the check. So for initial investments and some seed investments, if someone's going in 50, 100K, even up to 250K with some of the smaller micro VCs, then yes, they definitely could close with never meeting the people virtually. But I think larger checks, a lot of the deals that are getting closed now, I'm seeing the founders already had an existing relationship with the VC firm, and they may or may not have invested before. Maybe it's a follow-on, maybe it's not, but they may have known them for a period of time. So they were able to close the deal over Zoom. But when you start getting into really large checks, like, 10, 20, 30, 100 million, $1 billion, I think there's still going to be in-person stuff where they go visit the factory, they meet the customers in person, they look the people in the eye for that kind of money. So I think it's relative to the size of the check, but deals can definitely get done virtually only. It's just relative to the size of the check and also the scope of the business, because some businesses maybe can't be done virtually where you really have to see the thing. But though I've heard people have really done a great job adapting, showing pictures of the factory and the robots working and different things over Zoom.
Okay. And Danila, what do you think?
Yeah, the moment when you asked this question, I remember the time of 2018 when we had huge inflow of ICOs in the moment when projects didn't even want to see the face of our listing managers, and they were, ready to proceed further, send money, get listed. I think that was like a sense of that time, and the time is changing. After that, we've conducted a customer research, and we found out that 80% of our customers, as we are operating in B2B segment, 80% want to meet you in person. If it goes to partnering upon secondary listing or initial exchange offering. If we're talking about investment in startups, I think a lot depends on the team. So you can see the team online, I believe. So you need to have this offline meeting when you exchange your ideas, you see how the people behave, how they react to the feedback, how they, generally your own perception of the people you will work with as an investor or as a part of their team. So I don't think that it will completely become online way of communication, but online plays a significant role now, and it will play the significant role further. But offline will never die. This is my point of view. Thank you.
And if we say let's make a brainstorming or create something which could make maybe 95% of the deals through virtual things, because the people have information everywhere. Companies have information everywhere. There is a way to collect a lot of information, a lot of data, data is almost for free. And there is a lot of opportunities to make a good due diligence without meeting someone. Actually, when you meet the persons, they will prepare themselves and maybe make things look much better. And physically, you could be also. I would say you could also be missing the point, because maybe behind the politeness and behind the contact, maybe there are things that are still hidden. Okay, so I think it's the role of the DAO digital platform and this club is to think is like, post-COVID, a lot of things have to be remote. Companies that are in services will have to become completely remote. A bank is remote, so a lot of the banks continue to work. People in many countries don't use checks anymore. It's credits and debits. And all the other transactions are being done remotely, and then the agents of banks working remotely from home. So typically, a services business like this is 100%, could run 100% remote, almost. And then you have the manufacturing, where you have goods and where you have people who still have to go and package things. Okay, now you have more and more robots, but you still have a physical intervention. But of course, we have to think post-COVID about how to minimize that and keep the business running in case of force majeure. And then when it comes to investments, I would say there is a space to think about it, because you could invest in companies that are services companies, that are software developers, for example. So there is no factory. Yes, there is a software factory, but there is no factory like manufacturing cars, for example, or manufacturing. Okay, so the software developers, work at home. You can always reach out to them, and then you can always see who is the product manager, the chief technology officer, and so on. So you could still, for the companies who are in this business, do the due diligence, speak with people, see what they have in mind, understand about their background and what they have done, and so on, and do most of the due diligence like this. Now, if you are buying a company which manufactures in plants, for instance, whatever, cars or devices or ventilators or things like that, you still need maybe to see how the production happens, in which conditions, and so on. That could be maybe the must-have physical contact beside all the due diligence you could have. So I would say let's think about it, because I believe the future post-COVID is every company will be thinking about how can I run most of my business processes that are physical business processes, physical operations, how can I run them remote? And I think the investment is one of the business processes as well, where we have to think. But when I see, for example, the European Commission have been meeting and have been deciding 500 billions, they had all remote meetings, for example. Yes, they know each other, okay? But still, for these important amounts, you would say, yeah, they have to have a meeting in Brussels, they have to discuss, and they have to decide. But we have seen in the last 2 to 3 months, very important decisions and huge amounts decided just by video conference. And you could imagine hundreds and thousands of people behind the ministers who have been working and preparing the case, and so on and so on. And most of these people were working remotely, and all prepared the case, went up to the ministers. They discussed that with the presence of the commissioners at the European Commission, and they decided on these funds to help relaunching, for example, Europe, and to help saving jobs and so on. So I think the post-COVID could be a different world.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. Just probably one comment. When we're talking about startups, we still cannot forget the statistics that 5 or even less percentage of these startups really get into something more than MVP and get developed to medium or big business. So we have much higher chance of mistakes when we don't meet with these people offline, other than when we're talking about government decisions, which are made online, we have higher rate of trust between these people, and less chance of mistakes other than in a startup domain. So that probably this is the reason why we can say, okay, we are, let's say, presidents of countries. We know each other. We already discussed that point before. Let's make some changes and move on to the practical actions. But when we're talking about startups, we still remember somewhere, in the mind that who knows, is it going to be a startup out of this 5% who will succeed, or out of 95% who will just eat the money and produce nothing? So I think this is the case.
What I'm saying is, seeing someone, shaking his hand, and looking in the eyes and so on, is not enough to trust the business he's speaking about. How many people say, I know him for years, and so on and so on, and then at the end, the guys find out, like, they could not trust each other. So the physical contact is not a guarantee for trust. The guarantee for not making a mistake, actually, it could be the opposite. When people organize fantastic dinner, fantastic party, and invite guys and so on and make business, somewhere you are mixing up emotions and social things with business. While, when you do things remote, you are not mixing up anything except you have a nice talk and you look at the case and you focus a lot on business. So there are things to think about it as well, where if you remove the emotions, for example, and the social contact, and you leave strictly things to a business due diligence, maybe the post-COVID remote interaction in investment opportunities is not that risky.
Let me add here. So I think probably there are 2 points here regarding remote collaboration work in the post-COVID era. So the first point is the experience. So if you are, people probably have or not the experience of working remotely. So this actually solves by the education or by the use cases, different activities that they do the first time, and they probably learn how to work remotely. So this is the easy point. The other point is the trust. So working remotely, we have to trust each other in doing different transactions and etc. And this is probably the more complex thing. So if we have special platforms that could show the reputation of the both parties that are ready for the transaction. So that would be really easy for making these transactions, even if you don't know the person who you are dealing with. For example, like the platform is Local Bitcoin, so it helps transacting people that don't know each other. So with the easy way, so they just doing the stuff, they're working through the predefined the process of changing the crypto on the fiat money. But if we're talking about other types of transactions, I think there should be the special platforms for each use case. And if these platforms provide the information about the reputation, about the previous transactions, about the reviews and etc. So this would be that could be really easy for collaborating the online. So actually right now, after the post-COVID, we understand that everyone could get experience of transacting online, working remote and etc. But right now we have a lack of the platforms that could provide this reputation information about these transactions, that have predefined the transaction processes and etc. So actually we have to move building these platforms, and we'll have the fully remote and autonomous process of transacting.
Good, thank you. James,
yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah, I'm thinking too that existing companies are going to move a lot more towards remote, because there's a lot of things that people did in person. They had to meet like 5 or 6 times, and it was wasted. People traveled all around the world of the country, that you could do 90% of that remote. And then if there happens to be the case where something has to be in person, they could do it. But if not, then they save even more, because they're saving on travel, hotels, people's time of traveling. I mean, it can make the workforce much more productive. And as time goes on, tools will be built to address the issues that we've already kind of addressed through this conversation and through this forum. People will build tools to solve those problems over time. I mean, I have a lot of faith that we're living in the greatest time ever, contrary to popular belief, because of technology. And people adapt, the technology adapts, and we keep moving forward.
Very true. Very true. I think the sociologists and experts in behavior and change management and sociology, they are learning a lot. They are speaking a lot as well about, you know, how people are finding good things, bad things, but also good things and good lessons learned. There are companies who already decided to continue the remote work forever, like Peugeot, for example, a car manufacturer in France where I live. I read as well today that Cambridge has decided for the next scholar season, it's going to be fully remote, 2021, Cambridge, okay? They will continue to teach all the students remotely and so on. The education sector, I believe, the remote education has a good future. Blockchain technologies has a good future. There will be, I'm sure, much more use cases out of what we have lived than before. And this market is going to be booming. We just need to put together the use cases. The fact to say cryptocurrency, tokens, and so on, and technology for the sake of technology is not enough. We have to figure out what are the use cases in the different processes of the economy where the blockchain can bring something. For example, the sovereignty of the value chain, right? Every manufacturer will have to think, how can in a world where the borders are closed or very much controlled, how they could guarantee that the whole value chain, supply chain, continue to work as much as possible under his control, the sovereignty, right? That most of their suppliers and so on, they have a plan B, that they continue to manufacture the products they need to manufacture, for instance. Blockchain can play a role. Traceability also, when it comes to healthcare, pharma, food, and everything, how we can trace things, for example, and check that permanently. Blockchain has a great technology. In financial transactions, stock markets, for example, great also examples and so on. My belief is post-COVID, what we are talking about, which is not the only focus, but one of our focus around this technology, and the rest of the digital technologies will have a good future in front of them. This is why we see a lot of software companies, for example, where the analysts are saying perform or outperform, which means, like, you know, these companies will have a good future as soon as their clients, the groups, corporates, or the enterprises they deal with, still take their time to a bit digest the big shock that they had, and then, you know, start thinking about how to prepare them the future. Here, these companies will have a good future moving forward. So we will see big changes on sectors that were the stars. Everything which was in aviation, airlines, and so these were stars. I mean, number of the traffic was increasing. The orders for new planes, for example, whether it's from Boeing or from Airbus and so on, were increasing and so on. These were the best-in-class businesses, big profitability, orders for the next 4 years, all, you know, all preset, all pre-ordered and so on. And suddenly, you know, other sectors and so on are getting more important or are getting more comfortable, or, and of course, the technology plays an important role in this, as I said, blockchain, AI, and so on. So we will see a great shift here in the priority sectors, priority technologies, and the investments. And I think part of our job as well is to educate the investors and say, now you have to shift as well. You have to think differently. Give you another example is drones. Okay, I've been close to a drone manufacturer company which manufactures drones that can have a precision in taking off and landing and transporting, for example, goods. 5 years ago, that was a hype. Recently, in the couple 2-3 years ago, the investors were more looking at digital, for example, or software investments related to the UAV and so on. But now what we have seen is, there will be the need in the future for more and more automated transportation of goods. And these drones will, again, be very important in the post-COVID economy. And you need to use everything which checks the workflow, automates things, and blockchain and so on, that you can make the overall use cases for the drone users, not only in transporting goods when you have goods coming through ships, for example, on ports, but also in our daily life, through Amazon, through others, for example, and also for people to communicate and send things to each other and so on. So that is going to be an important vehicle. So an important shift. Investors should also need to read, but also to think about it, because some of this thinking is just pragmatic, and then also shift their priorities moving forward. Do you share these thoughts? Do you have some comments?
I do share the thoughts with the supply chain, and I actually think that the blockchain software is the glue that could tie it all together by smart contracts basically executing at each stage automatically, like almost an automation type thing. And then also, it's going to be the acceleration in robotics too, because hopefully we've learned from these lessons and we've prepared for the next type of pandemic, if it happens 100 years from now, 50 years from now, where we won't be as reliant on people, where everyone really has to stay in and it's worse, then robots could do a number of the things. 3D printers could print the parts, and it could all be executed via smart contracts. And then the drones could even deliver the goods. We could 3D print our food, things like that. So I really think that 3D printing is going to be accelerated in robotics in order to accelerate manufacturing. The whole industrial complex is going to be pushed forward. So stuff that might have been 150 years away could be pushed to 20 years away to really be usable. And 50 years from now, people will be like, what? You never 3D printed your food? Just like the way now people are like, you never had a smartphone? And people will be like, in the future, you used to drive your car? You used to go to the grocery store? The RoboMart didn't come bring it to you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even how many times we heard about the Uberization of the economy? How many times we presented Uber as the success business? They thought about it. They don't own any car, any assets. It's the whole digital platform, which is fantastic, and so on. And how many times I have seen presentations starting by Uber logo, okay? Now, Uber is very much suffering. Uber is laying off 3,000 and so on. So they have, even these ones who were very advanced, who were being presented as the model of the Uberization of the economy and the digitalization of the economy, will have to rethink themselves. We have to rethink completely themselves. Okay, what's the new model now?
Right. I always say too, like what made Uber and Lyft possible was the technology inflection. Because before everybody had a smartphone in their hand, you wouldn't have been able to do Uber at scale. And that was one of the reasons they succeeded at the time. And these things get to a certain level of growth. And then just like anything else, startups or any company, in order to survive, you always have to adapt and keep disrupting yourself or you'll be disrupted. That's why, like in the old days, some of the big wigs, like the IBMs, kind of got disrupted by Microsoft. And then Microsoft, even though it's doing great now and it's disrupting again, it kind of got into a stagnant phase. And then the Facebooks were allowed to flourish and the Googles. But I think it's possible, too, that Bill Gates got distracted by the antitrust. If he wouldn't have been distracted by that, maybe he would have came out with the smartphone and things like that. So it's hard to know. But
Sure.
You see what I'm saying is nowadays, big companies are a little bit wiser, especially in the financial space, like Citigroup and all them. They're trying to disrupt themselves with fintech because they know the future is coming. And if they don't do something, they're going to become the old school.
Yeah. So you're right. I mean, they came with the digital platform. They were innovative in that. Now many other competitors actually have developed something almost similar. And they didn't need to own anything, any assets, any cars, and so on. And they were doing well, not really profitable, but doing well. And they had to comply with a lot of regulations, competing with the legacy monopolistic car taxi players. Now, they started diversifying their business by bringing things like Uber Eats, for instance. And they were lucky to have Uber Eats during the crisis. That business continued to work. So that shows what? So you have to think in your business, what are the what-if scenarios, the conditions that for the business you are doing will stop you from running your business, okay? And do you have other alternative businesses or diversified businesses like Uber Eats here? Not only one, 2, 3, I mean, there was also the bikes and so on, that could compensate your decrease of revenues, for example, in your traditional Uber taxi business. I can take another example, which is Doctolib, which is a platform in France, where all the patients now take appointments on internet and have direct access to the calendars of the doctors, hospitals, whatever, labs, as well in France. This is one of the 2 unicorns in France, and their business have very much increased. Even now, they have like 100 million transactions, for example, that happened, accumulated over the last months by video conference. So they had that feature included, and since people were confined, they couldn't go anymore to doctors to make normal visits. So they replaced that by video conferencing. Luckily, the video conferencing was already an option, and they could increase the remote consultations versus the decrease of the physical consultations, because everybody was scared and so on to go to see the doctor and so on for normal consultations. I'm not speaking about COVID consultations, normal ones. And this company is doing very well. So this risk management, what if scenarios, what should I have in case, etc., this is what every company should be thinking about anytime.
Right. I call that anti-fragile thinking. So when you're under stress, how do you get stronger? How can you adapt quickly?
Yeah. And for that, you need strategists. This is why a company cannot run only with people who can manage a P&L and CFOs, for example. You need strategists, because the other guys would not think about it. The management, what the other businesses we could have in place, these are the innovators and the strategists who should think about it. Yes, Danila.
When you were saying about this startup, which is enabling online meeting between patients and doctors, I remember the recent startup from USA who is doing a machine that let patients put a blood on the cartridge, put it in the machine, and machines provide you with the whole analysis of your body. The diseases, the probability of the diseases, the blood pressure, everything that patients previously needed to find out to go to the hospital, he can now receive these whole body analysis results staying at home using this machine. This is one of the greatest startups that we've worked with before.
Very good. Yeah, these are fantastic cases, and everything which is also self-service. I have a friend who's working in a ventilator company. It's a big startup. They do 50-70 million revenues, and this is about also self-service ventilators, for example, that people could use at home. And with the whole big demand, for example, we have in hospitals, that their product has been ordered everywhere, also in hospitals. So that's also a big market. It's things you would do self-service using your phone, having something on your skin which can communicate your tension, your blood, and things like that to your doctor, that you have a predictive reaction here, and also reactive response, for example, from your doctor when they receive something which is going wrong, particularly for the elderly people or people who are fragile. Then these are fantastic use cases. These are like absolutely fantastic use cases, and the future will be around that. So there is a space for the startups to think not small, to think something ambitious. And my recommendation is that you have to think first of all about why somebody would, if it's something among many others and so on, it's not that big need, or you have really a pain point to use it and so on. It's going to be a business, but is it going to be a golden business? I don't think so. But think about, yes, this will be much highly needed. Why the Uber was successful at the beginning? Because the guy was in Paris and he had to wait for hours and to get a taxi. And everybody, they know, that it's tough. Okay, you call, they don't answer, you go there, you wait, and so on. So he said, there is a pain point, let me invent the Uber. And the Dr. Ip I was speaking about, the guy is a serial entrepreneur who built it. He built La Fourchette before, which is, you take appointments with restaurants, and you can have sometimes like a discount if you order at a certain time, and so on. You get points, for example, for going and eating in restaurants and booking through the La Fourchette, which means fork in English. And then he got the idea to build this. The pain point is, if you want to have an appointment with some doctors, you need to wait for months, for example, in France. And he found out the way you take an appointment, and then if somebody, for example, cancels his appointment, immediately the slot gets available, and then you could have an option where the slot is being offered to you by saying, look, it's not in 1 month your appointment, but maybe in 2 weeks we have now a free slot for you. So that's a pain point, and it works. It's simple. It's simple. It works. There is no manufacturing of anything behind it, but it is a must, highly needed pain point. Company now valuation is about 1 billion. So startups should think that way. I'm not saying there should not be startups who work on the nice to have, but I think if somebody wants to become rich and make a good business, would be recommended to think about the must have something which is solving a big pain point rather than something else.
Right. I always say it's just a vitamin or a painkiller. And if it's considered a vitamin today, will it be a painkiller in the future? The one thing COVID taught us too is a lot of things that were considered nice to haves or vitamins became painkillers almost overnight.
True. Absolutely true. But this is why we need to keep the brain alive. When you keep the brain alive, right, and then you react always to new things, and you don't take anything for granted. You still leave the opportunity and the space for adjusting the priorities here, because the environment is changing, the ecosystem is changing, and you cannot have an environment, an ecosystem which is changing, an economy which is changing, and you keep thinking the same way. You have to react to that. You have to adjust.
Right. I always look at it too is what this founder is building in the future is going to create a movement, because Uber and Airbnb became movements. Facebook was a movement. Before those things existed, nobody really thought of them. So I always look at it as, everybody says, how big is the market? I always think, how big is the future market? Are they creating the market? Is the market going to grow with them to levels we thought unimaginable? Because even Uber probably didn't think when they started that the market wasn't just taxi cabs. It was also people who own cars. Because I knew so many young people now that never even want to own a car in their life because they have access to Uber and Lyft. So the market was even bigger.
It's, all of that is analytics, is software models, data scientists. So I have to put all of that together and say, what if there is more of this, less of that, etc., and then to run it and say, help into taking decisions. This is the big thing, is how do you take decisions when you have different interlinked factors, for example, and the data is very complicated and you need to collect a lot of data and so on. That's the big thing that decision makers have to take here, is taking decisions that are the best ones. I mean, if everyone takes always the decision which is the best one, of course, everybody will be rich. Okay. Anything to add, Dmitry? And then I think we have here a great conversation. I think we took the opportunity here to see also platforms and the details that Dmitry and Danila presented. Great thoughts as well from James. I think that people who will come here on this club will have the opportunity to listen to a number of interesting recordings, listen to this conversation. There will be the opportunity to have other conversations like that as well, planned by Dmitry. And I think the network should continue and should be really continuous here. This is where we get the best value out of it. But if you want to add something, Dmitry and Danila, before we close it, that would be great.
Yeah, I just wanted to add about, you were talking about the Uber, about the other platforms. So actually, these are the transaction models and the startups that helps provide the simple products, simple services that could be standardized and that are really that people are looking for them. So actually, following this idea, so the part of the DAO.digital would be the digital marketplace. So I think that we could create probably the same place where everyone could list their services, their products that they would like to sell. So we could create the special catalog for these services, and we could create the special digital marketplace for providing these services. So probably this could be not the driver services like Uber has, but we could provide the digital services for startups, for companies, for medias, and etc. So this could be the kind of digital marketplace for the digital workplace where we could collaborate online with each other and build the digital economy. So thank you for joining this event.
Great idea, thank you.
Yes, I also wanted to say in regards to must-have decision. So I think that the simplicity is a second genius. I don't remember who said that, but only simple decision only simple product, only simple decision can cover maximum of people, because they are oriented at people who are not very into using the smartphone, who can do only simple actions. And the simpler it is, the more coverage you will get in regards to the number of potential customers. Do you hear me well?
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and second thing, in regards to the point Dmitry mentioned, digital marketplace, I believe that we already made a huge progress when startups can raise funds online with no upfront huge expense on investment banking, legal resources and everything. They just go on a platform and they do crowdfunding campaign. They can do online roadshow. They have access and outreach to thousands of investors, well spread and diversified from a lot of locations all around the globe. I think this is an example of huge progress that happened only for recent 3 or 4 years. And in order to add to the point of what is happening after COVID, post-COVID time. So COVID raises new challenges to the business, and when we have new challenge, we need to come up with new decisions. And again, this is a huge opportunity for startups, agile startups who are flexible, who have potential to move to opposite direction or to quickly switch their focus to something else, to create a simple decision that will gather and capture the people who are willing to get this decision right now, because they are facing new challenges. They need new decisions, and these startups can create this. Yeah, so this is so far my thoughts. Thank you for being, appreciate the fact of being such an incredible discussion today. Glad to talk with you all. So thank you for inviting me, and appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks, Danila. Last words, James?
Yeah, I just hope everybody just keep staying safe in the COVID world. And thank you everybody for this great discussion today. And everybody should remember, just because it's COVID world, you feel like your business is slowing down. If your business is slowing down less than your competitors, you're actually relatively doing better. Or even if you have to slow down your growth and you're growing more than your competitors, you're actually still blitzscaling, like the book Blitzscale. There was actually a really small chapter about that in Hard Times, what blitzscaling means.
Perfect. Look, I mean, a message of optimism from my side. I think we live in a world which is absolutely interconnected. And any crisis, even if this one we haven't seen something similar since 50 years, we have ever seen in France, even during the worldwide wars, even people completely blocked and confined at home, and in many other countries is the same. But despite it's absolutely unique, the fact that there was very much interconnected and people, had the appetite to come again and do business. So I'm very much confident, even if we lived crises like September 11th, like the financial crisis in 2008, other crises we had in the history, there is no other option than people coming again and then transacting, and there will be always people who want to sell, and there will be always people who want to buy, and there will be always people who want to create, businesses of entertainment and other businesses. So the various sectors of the economy will continue to live with adjustments, with thinking different, with thinking creative. We have seen many of the companies who were the top companies, like ExxonMobil and so on, who were the top companies in market cap in the world. And there have been a shift where, other companies like that are the Apple, the Microsoft, the Facebook, the Google, and so on, who became the biggest one. So these are adjustments that are needed and people have to adapt. But I'm very much confident that, in a few weeks, probably in July, a lot of bad things will be behind us. Hopefully, for this season at least, hopefully we will be ending in many countries the pandemic story, and people will get back to do business, and this business will be increasing again. So, this is the time as well to take the opportunity to prepare themselves. Investors and startups have to prepare themselves and then be optimistic and really say, there is a future for making big business here. With that, I wish you a great day and talk to you then soon. Dmitry, maybe the plan for the future, you will reach out to people by email and so on?
Yeah, thank you very much. So actually we have opened our 1 month event, Global Investors Online Summit, by this session. So we'll be doing weekly sessions. So we'll have the pitch sessions from our startups. They're just preparing with their pitch presentations, so we're going to be broadcasted with them as well. Also, we have a lot of interviews that have been pre-recorded, so we will be publishing them one by one, and we'll be updating them you with email. So if you do not have your ticket, free ticket on the summit.DAO.digital, so kindly get your ticket, and you will get all the updates using the email. So also we have our Telegram group, t.me/DAO.digital. So this is the group of our DAO. We'll be publishing all our content that we have created. So, and actually we'll be updating with our latest news. So thank you very much. So we'll see you on the next.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All right, take care and have a good business. Thank you.
Care.
Bye-bye.